The Polynesian Cultural Center is located in Laie, Hawaii, directly next to BYU Hawaii. Owned and operated by the LDS Church, students at BYU are commonly employed and demonstrate cultural aspects of Polynesia. It is a main tourist attraction for other LDS followers and other tourists from around the world.
The Polynesian Cultural Center is just the money-making arm of the Mormon Church, that's what we say. And of course, it also reeks of kind of badly paid labor, which is the Polynesians who dance there. It's what I call the prostitution of culture, where the people who are native or who come from another native place wind up being the entertainers. And the culture becomes a shadow of its real self. And then that is sold to tourists to make money for the church and whatever else they own and want to build. And they're not the only ones. The Mormons, I think, are the worst example because they have the Polynesian Cultural Center. But the other churches do similar kinds of exploitation. They're always trying to, the Catholics, for example, are always trying to get Hawaiians to donate things to the church. That church is filthy rich. You know, you should do the reverse donation to the poor Hawaiians. But it's always the opposite. It's always the opposite. But the reality is that they are everywhere in Hawaii, and they have they have a college called Church College of Hawaii, which is on the north shore of the island, and they own a huge part of it in Laie. That is where they come from, BYU Hawaii, and they are in full tilt when it comes to conversion and taking land and developing it. My feeling is they're not any different from any other settler that comes to a colony and tries to take from the native people whatever the native people have. Almost every native group that I've worked with, for example, the Maori from New Zealand, or people from Guam, or from Wake, or Native American Indians on the continent, they all have the same experience, and it's amazing. It's amazing how uniform the experience is. The missionaries come, they convert you to whatever religious branch of Christianity it is, and pretty soon they own most of whatever it is you originally had. And that's what I think about missionaries.
Well, for us here in Hawaii, there's no question in our mind. One of our earliest ancestors, you know, in terms of looking at it, his name was Hawaii Loa. And my genealogy, you know, ties up to Hawaii Loa. And Hawaii Loa was one of the first navigators that actually arrived here in Hawaii. And he settled here with his people.
Okay.
And the thing about it is that he arrived here like around almost 60, about 59 to 60 BC in these islands, you know. And from our standpoint, where was his homeland? He talked about it in his genealogical chant. His homeland was in a place called Kahikinui. And where is Kahikinui to us? It is in the east where the sun rises, you know. And so as far as we're concerned, that's where we came from, you know. They were part of the remnant and the seed of Nephi that was preserved here, because that's who Hawaii Loa was, you know. And we talk about Kealakekua on the big island of Hawaii. Kealakekua is actually, the real name is Keala Keakua, the pathway of the gods. And that's where the Hawaiians in their legends and stories said that the great white god came down from the heavens and appeared to them, you know. And when you read the Book of Mormon and things like that, it says that there was a seed, a remnant of the seed of Nephi was also preserved, and they were led to the islands of the seas, you know. And that's what I believe. They came here, you know. And why? Because the Savior also appeared to them here. You know, it's part of the Hawaiian genealogies and Hawaiian stories. The ones that came after, with Malveki and others, were also of Lamanite descent, from the Americas as well. Because, you know, they were out trying to find Hawaii Loa and his people. And so what you end up with, you have both segments of them here in Hawaii, but they never killed each other off.
The purpose of these religions is to lock up your mind. And once you do that, you have a docile population. That's why I can't stand proselytizing of any kind. I don't care what your religion is. I have my own gods. They predate the arrival of white people. I don't need your gods. I don't go knock on your door and tell you about our gods.
For me, growing up on Molokai, my grandparents always told me, they said, you know, "A'ohe pau kaike e kau halau ho'okahi." Think not that all wisdom resides in one place, you know. But my grandmother always says, be open. Listen to other people's stories, you know. Don't be quick to condemn them and say their stories are wrong, you know. But you listen to them because their story may be an additional, you know, have more information that could add on to your story, you know. And so I've always kept that in my mind, you know. And so when I sit and I talk with people, whether it be around a campfire, whether it be around, you know, steering oars or we're out sailing, you hear all of these different stories coming up. I use my responses, oh, my kai, that's good, you know, that's good, because there's another story, you know. And when you sit and you start sharing all of these different stories, you find that there's a commonality, you know, and that commonality is that we have similar ancestors, you know, whether they were Nephites or Lamanite, it doesn't matter. It all goes back to the same source.
Aya kapalanga